Welcome to City Critters. I'm Nikole Nichols.
And I'm Kimberly Chandler. I'm here every day, and sometimes I walk around and I ask myself, looking at all of these homeless cats and dogs, what does this really mean? Could it be better? And how did we get here?
Studies show 80% of Americans view their pets as part of the family. They sleep with them, dress them up, feed them special food, take them out places. But even though that's true, animal shelters across the nation are still killing about 5 million healthy cats and dogs a year. How could this be? Historically, we'll find that the very organizations designed and created to care for our homeless pets are doing little more than killing them. Since the late 1800s until now, the vision of most animal shelters is that there's just too many pets out there, not enough homes. So the only thing that could be done with these surplus pets is to adopt out a few and kill the rest.
Unfortunately, there's a new movement and a new vision for animal welfare, and that's called the no-kill movement. In 1994, the San Francisco SPCA became the first animal welfare organization to end the killing of healthy homeless dogs and cats in shelters. Thus began a new movement for animal welfare. In 2007, we here at Nevada Humane Society joined that movement, and we became a no-kill shelter. Since then, NHS, as we like to call it, has now joined this movement and become somewhat of a flagship model for other shelters around the country.
But what does it really mean to be a no-kill shelter? When we return, we're going to speak with Diane Blankenberg, the Director of Community Programs and Development at Nevada Humane Society. Diane's going to share with us what it means to actually be a no-kill shelter, why this philosophy is so critical to animal welfare, and finally, how the adoption of this philosophy has affected Nevada Humane Society.
This financial advisor is being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
I guess we're not going to Aspen. That's fine. You see, I like tennis balls. He likes insider trading. So he's going to jail and I'm going to a shelter. And no, they're not the same thing. Shelters are for good pets that want to be adopted. Jails are for criminals. I've done nothing. Uh-oh. Ooh, okay, I stole a cheeseburger once. On my dog.
Yes, ready. Go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Welcome back to City Critters. Joining us now is Diane Blankenberg. Diane, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
Why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself, your work in animal welfare, and how you ended up here?
Sure, I would love to do that. I actually started in this field about 8 years ago, and I left the corporate world like many people like myself that cares about animals but really wants to do something different with their life and hopefully make a difference. So I packed up my dogs and my stuff and I moved to a little town in Kanab, Utah to work for Best Friends Animal Society. From there, I went to New Orleans right after Katrina to help do rescue work. And from there, I came here. Never been to Reno before in my life, never seen the shelter, but just really wanted to make a difference. And I knew that this organization was changing and I wanted to be a part of that difference.
Wow, very impressive. So it sounds like you've had quite a bit of experience in animal welfare and animal shelters.
Yes, for the last 8 years I've been in it. I've worked in the shelter environment, I've worked in the rescue environment, I've worked in the sanctuary environment. Wow. So I've kind of hit it from all sides, and I love being able to do something I'm really passionate about.
Very good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the general public doesn't really understand the difference between a no-kill shelter and a traditional shelter. How would you describe what a no-kill shelter is?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The no-kill term is actually confusing in and of itself. It doesn't mean we never euthanize an animal, but we do it in what we think is a humane way and for humane reasons. The no-kill philosophy to us is really about valuing all life. It's about saying every life is precious, that we're going to make a decision to euthanize an animal based on that philosophy. So the only times we do euthanize is because either an animal is too sick or injured that the prognosis of a quality of life is poor. There's nothing that we can do to help give them a good prognosis. Or in the other case, it's with dogs that are too aggressive, and we feel like that poses too much of a risk to the community.
And so basically, if an animal is very young or very old, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to put someone down. How is this perspective different than compared to other shelters?
Oh, that's absolutely right. They can be young, old, injured, not the most gorgeous animals, but they're all special to us, and that we look at each one individually and assess them individually and figure out what we can do to help give them a quality of life.
Okay.
It could be they need some behavioral training, it could be they just need medical care, it could be that they just plainly need some TLC that our staff and volunteers can give them here at the shelter. So we view every life as precious, and we do everything we can to make sure they have an ongoing, long, quality life.
So here at Nevada Humane Society, we truly are considered a no-kill shelter. So we only put down animals that absolutely have no other choice in life and would not have a happy, healthy life. Is that correct?
That is correct. Since 2007, the beginning of 2007 actually, we became a no-kill shelter. We adopted that mission, and we have lived true to it ever since. Our purpose is to make sure, though, that all animals in Washoe County are also taken care of. We wanted to provide a true safety net for the entire community. So what we have done is expanded our goals so that we are really reaching out to the entire homeless population and make sure that we are caring for them all. And as a matter of fact, as of this year, so far rather this year, we are at a 92% save rate for both dogs and cats, and that is county-wide. It's amazing, and it's one of the best in the entire country. So we're very proud of that. Here at Nevada Humane Society, we are a no-kill shelter, but the true mission is to be no-kill across the community, and we're just very proud to have reached that goal.
Wow.
So you mentioned a 92% save rate. What does that really mean?
Well, what it means is that we are saving all the healthy and adoptable animals that we possibly can. But it's really not a numbers game, it's really about lives. So we are looking at each life individually and making sure that we are saving them if they truly are savable and they're adoptable. Traditionally, in no-kill shelters, that is usually a goal of about 90%, because when you find throughout the country is about 10% fall into those categories that I mentioned earlier, which are the fact that they either were too sick or injured, or that their dogs they were too aggressive. So that's why we have that 90% goal. So a measure of success is if you can get over that 90% goal. And right now the national average is 50-some%. So to be at a 92% is just amazing. And what it has made us is one of the safest places in the country for homeless pets.
Now that we have a better understanding of what a no-kill shelter is, my question is, how do you actually do it? How do you make it work?
That's a great question, and I wish I could answer it in a few minutes for this show, because I think it's quite complicated. It's easy to say we're going to do it, and that's exactly what we did here. We had committed from day one, and we've never let up on that. But what it does is require us to change so many of the ways that we do things, the programs, the processes. We need to be constantly making decisions based on, is this saving lives or not? We assessed our shelter and our programs and took a look at what is really working for us and what isn't. What is contributing to our mission and what isn't? And if it wasn't directly contributing, we didn't continue. So one of the biggest things we wanted to focus on were adoptions. Obviously, we have a lot of animals. We need to find wonderful, loving homes for them. So we actually changed our adoption programs to make it easier for people to come in and fall in love with animals. We have tried to create an environment here that is fun to come to, that's interesting, that's exciting, that promotes the bonding of the animals with people. We make it easier for them to access the animals. We don't at all lighten up on our requirements because we want to make sure we're finding wonderful homes. But we do want to make it easy for people to fall in love with these animals. And we also are creative. I think we're rather creative in a lot of ways in coming up with new programs and new promotions to help get these animals out to the public. So we have all sorts of different things that we have created over the 3.5 years that I've been here, and we're never too shy about trying something new.
Wonderful. Well, that's good to hear. And you mentioned increasing the number of animals going out, obviously changing the way the adoptions work and bringing in more people. Is there anything more specific? For example, with the cats, with dogs, people can obviously go up, pet them, touch them, but is there a lot of opportunity to be hands-on with the cats as well?
Here at the shelter, we have some cat colonies where cats get to live in a large group together, which is much more like they would live on their own.
Sure.
It's also really wonderful for both the volunteers and for the public to come in and hang with the cats, really get to know them and get to see how they might be in their own family situation.
That's nice.
I think you also mentioned something that I'd like to follow up on is that one of the major goals in being a no-kill shelter is getting more animals out alive, and adoptions are key to that. We had our largest adoption month in July where we adopted out 1,006 animals. And I think you'll hear traditionally that people feel there's a shortage of homes. Well, there's no shortage of homes so far in Reno, and this is an extremely, extremely supportive community for animals. So we are working hard to continue to place those animals into homes. And we also work really closely with our other shelters and rescue groups so that they too are helping us together to build this no-kill community.
Wow, that's amazing, and that's so wonderful to hear because so many people care about the animals. One thing I want to touch on is when you're mentioning, again, increasing numbers, increasing adoptions. Do you do any kind of adoption promotions, and what are they like?
We do a variety of adoption promotions, and again, like I said, we try to be extremely creative. We have one coming up here in a few weeks called Me and My Shadow, where we're going to focus on helping people find their soulmate in a pet, whether it's a dog or a cat or even a rabbit or a gerbil. But we also do promotions that are jointly produced through local festivals or maybe holidays where we're going to promote specials for Mother's Day or Father's Day, or maybe something particular is going on in the shelter, like we have a large number of a particular kind of animal, and we want to help promote them and market them differently so that they too can find homes.
Wow, very good.
Clearly what you all are doing is working very well as far as getting animals out of the shelter and into adoptive homes, and that's wonderful. But what are you doing in order to decrease the number of animals coming in?
Yes, we're very proud of our adoption numbers and what we're doing to be able to place animals and keep up with saving all of these wonderful creatures. But unfortunately, the admissions rooms is filled every day with people surrendering their animals, as well as the fact that we're transferring an equal number from the Washoe County that are either strays or confiscated animals that have never been redeemed by their owners. So these numbers are huge. The fortunate thing is our numbers haven't really grown in that area, even though they are growing across the country. Given the economic times, people are less able to take care of their animals. They're certainly less able to take care of medical conditions that they need. So we're kind of maintaining, which is a positive. But maintaining isn't quite good enough. We need to actually start decreasing this so we can get ahead of it. And the number one way to do that is through spay-neuter. We promote and offer low-cost spay-neuter services to the public through a variety of programs. This is something that is very important to us so that we're not producing more animals that end up homeless and are actually displacing animals that are already in our communities that do need a shelter.
That's great. What other ways does Nevada Humane Society really work to decrease the animals coming in?
Well, something that's maybe conceptually not unique, but it's fairly unique as far as being implemented in shelters, is a free animal help desk. We started this several years ago, and what it is a place where anybody can call or email for help about any kind of animal issue. We have live people that actually respond. Every year since it's been implemented, we've helped over 20,000 people with requests on animal issues. And what we do is give them some choices, give them some options, give them encouragement, enable them to make choices and to do things that will allow them to keep the animals in the homes. And that's ultimately what everybody wants. The people want to keep their animals. The animals are happier, and obviously the shelters are happier because then we can help other animals that need it. So it's a wonderful service, and it really has helped decrease the number of animals that are coming into shelters in our community.
That's great.
Wow. So it sounds like running a no-kill shelter, running Nevada Humane Society. Big success, but a lot of work and a lot of commitment. How do you do that?
It is indeed a lot of work. I will never say it isn't. But the reward is so amazing that you're willing to put a lot into it, a lot more so than I would back in the days when I worked for a manufacturing company and I was making widgets. This is just so wonderful and exciting, and I have to say, because of my role here, I often work in an office and behind a desk sometimes, and not always out in the where the action's going on. But I take time to pause regularly, walk through our adoption lobby, and when I see the looks on the faces of the people that are adopting and the looks on those animals, that makes it all worthwhile, and it just gives me a new boost of energy, and I am ready to go through another 12-hour day here.
Wow, amazing.
We're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to talk more about the commitment involved in running a no-kill shelter and wrap up our interview with Diane.
Yes, ready, ready. Go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Welcome back. We're here with Diane Blankenberg, and we were talking about what it takes to run a no-kill shelter. Sounds like it takes a lot of commitment.
Absolutely it does, and as I mentioned earlier, certainly by the individuals and staff, but there's really a lot of other people that make this happen. We have hundreds and hundreds of volunteers that are super dedicated and are here regularly to help us. That includes people that actually foster animals in their homes, and without them we wouldn't be saving all of the little kittens that come in throughout the, I want to say the spring and summer seasons, but it ends up being almost all year. And to date, we've actually fostered out over 1,400 animals, and that is amazing for 2010. But also, besides the fosters and the volunteers, we just have a wonderful community of supporters. 4 or 5 years ago, this community voted to build this wonderful building. They passed a bond to support it when other types of support was not happening. And I'll tell you, in these tough times, the economy is really rough. People are still supporting us. Not that we can't use more support. We're still in need of donations and certainly depend on those because we are not funded by any national organizations or the government. But still, I'm amazed every day at how much this community supports the animals that they live with.
I love the just tufts of hair.
Diane, we've heard some really great things about Nevada Humane Society and a no-kill shelter. Can you talk about why more shelters aren't going this direction?
I think there's actually a great movement in that direction. And I think there are tons of people in the world, in the country, whether they're in this movement or not, that really love animals and don't want to see them die. The passionate folks that are really working towards this particular movement are very dedicated and very willing and very caring. I think the biggest problem is they just don't know how to do it. And that's one thing that we are so happy here that we have the opportunity to share with other communities. It's a little humbling when people come to us and say, you've become a model, because I feel like we have a long ways to go and we have a lot to learn. But I am so happy to share what we do have with other folks so that they're not recreating what we have already created, or that we're learning from each other. So if anybody's interested in more information just about the whole no-kill idea or running a no-kill shelter, please email us at info@NevadaHumaneSociety.org, and we'll be happy to send you whatever materials that we have, and everything we have is to be shared.
Wow, that's some amazing information. Is there anything else that you want to add to that to really finish it all off and wrap it up?
I'd just like to say that I am just extremely proud to be a part of this organization. I'm proud to be a part of this community. I had no idea when I moved here that it was so supportive when it came to animal welfare. And I am so thankful for the generosity and the huge support of everybody in this community.
Wow.
So thank you very much, and I hope that we have even a better year coming up.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Kimberly Chandler.
And I'm Nikole Nichols.